Get cool stuff for what you were going to do anyway. Drink beer. With Buy Beer, Get Gear from Labatt, you can just snap a photo of your receipt and upload it to the website to rack up points for exclusive merch. Get points for every purchase, whether you're grabbing a pint on draft, a case for a party, or a tall boy at the stadium. Any size, any product, anywhere you buy Labatt. Buy beer, get gear. Sign up now at rewards.labattusa.com.
I got you in, baby.
This is entertainment. People pay to watch this.
Pass to a cutting Hiltz. He darts in.
People actually subscribe.
All across central New York.
Time expired! Syracuse has done it!
It's Drive Time with your host, Tim Leonard.
Hey, guess what? I'm getting wild. Hey!
We welcome you into Drive Time on a game night in central New York. A late game night, another one of these 9 p.m. games tonight, and the Orange looking to bounce back as they take on a very solid Virginia Tech team. Quad 2 opportunity in the Dome tonight. We'll get into the matchup against Virginia Tech. We'll take your phone calls if you'd like. If you have thoughts on the game tonight, give us a ring at 315-437-7644. 4 ESPN 44 is the phone number to call. Taking your comments in the Cuse Sports Talk chat as well. I'll be back with you guys late night for post-game. I keep drawing the 9 p.m. post-games as well. Gio and Kyle will have the full breakdown pre-game of Virginia Tech and Syracuse. Fitting that two guys from Syracuse that went to Virginia Tech are going to do a pre-game show about Virginia Tech and Syracuse. Probably the most knowledgeable Virginia Tech and Syracuse overlap you could have for two hosts. That'll be the pregame show brought to you by Burdick as always. That'll get going at 8 p.m. tonight. And then postgame right after the final buzzer, Adrian Autry's full press conference. All our normal bells and whistles. All of you calling in, angrily yelling at how bad Syracuse basketball has been playing. Or maybe it'll be a positive postgame. Maybe this is a bounce-back victory. The Orange are slight favorites in this game tonight on the computer sites, and Vegas likes them to win this game by about 3 points. I think it opened at 3.5 across the betting sports book. So we'll dive into the matchup a little bit more as we continue on Drive Time today. We also will chat some Orange women's basketball with their star guard, Dominique Darius, who was just named about an hour ago the National Player of the Week, according to the Basketball Writers Association, the USBWA, United States Basketball Writers Association, giving Dominique Darius the award of National Player of the Week. So the National Player of the Week is in Syracuse after she went for a career-high 26 points against Stanford and also hit the game-winning three and went for 19 points in that triple overtime wild win against Cal. 3 straight really nice wins for the Orange women's basketball team, and excited to chat with Dominique Darius, who was a great interview. That'll be coming up in about 10 minutes or so, a little over 10 minutes. We'll have her live on QSportsTalk.com. You can watch that interview with us, and that will go right to our YouTube page as well. We had a great interview on Orange Nation earlier today, 2 good interviews, but one that went very long and was very honest, and that is usually what happens when we have the head coach of the Orange football team, Fran Brown, on our airwaves. He kept going and going. He had thoughts on a little bit of everything, and he sort of told all on anything you want to know around Syracuse football right now. So we'll play back some of those comments as we continue on Drive Time. If you missed any of the noteworthy moments from the Fran Brown interview earlier today, remember you can always watch that back on our YouTube page, and you can find some of the notable clips on our social media account, Cuse Sports Talk, wherever you get your social medias, whether that's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, all of that good stuff. So Dominique Darius coming up in about 10 minutes. Before that, let's get into our Burdick BMW of Cicero opening drive and go through the scatter report on the Hokies tonight. Who is Syracuse playing? What are the chances they win this game? And what are the big keys for the Orange to bounce back and get a win tonight? Virginia Tech really upgraded their overall talent in their roster in the offseason. Mike Young, the head coach of Virginia Tech, believe it or not, is now in his 7th season in Blacksburg. And they have yet to win an NCAA tournament game. They have made it to the NCAA tournament twice as a bubble team, once as a 10 seed, once as an 11 seed. That was last in 2021, so they've been in a little bit of a drought. They've underachieved a little bit lately, but a big reason for that is they just haven't had much talent. Mike Young is widely considered a very good coach, was a terrific head coach at Wofford for a while, and has been at Virginia Tech now 7 seasons. Thought of as a great offensive mind, great overall strategist in basketball, really good at player development. The problem is Virginia Tech has not had great NIL resources to A, acquire talent, and B, retain that talent. And therefore, being a great player developer does not translate as much when you're not keeping any good talent around. This year, they did go into the NIL coffers a little bit more, and this is an athletic and talented Virginia Tech team. And they have played some wild games this year. They have been involved in 4 overtime games already. And amazingly, they are 4-0 in overtime games. They won a triple overtime game over Virginia, their rival at home, in early January, I believe that was. So that was early on in ACC play. That's their lone quad 1 win and their best win of the season to date. Virginia has looked very, very good under Ryan Odom, who, of course, the Orange will see on the road later in the season. The Hokies entered tonight's game 14-5 overall, 3-3 in conference play, and they played a pretty tough conference schedule. And right now they are 54th in the net ranking. So this is a quad 2 game for Syracuse. This is a quad 1 opportunity for Virginia Tech because Syracuse is barely inside the top 75, which any top 75 road game is a quad 1 game. The Orange are 74th in the net, so 20 spots behind Virginia Tech. Yet Syracuse is 3.5-point favorites in this game tonight, which may surprise some of you. I thought the Orange were going to be favored. Maybe would not have guessed the Vegas line would have them that big of favorites. I thought it was probably going to be like -1, -1.5, maybe somewhere in that range. Ken Pom is projecting Syracuse to win this game by 2. Bart Torvik is projecting the Orange to win it by 3 at 76-73. Hokies are pretty balanced in terms of offense and defense. 73rd on Ken Pom offensive rating, 59th in the country in defensive rating. Their other quad 1 games have all been pretty memorable as well. They lost at SMU 2 games ago on a truly wild buzzer beater, a half-court shot at the buzzer from Boopy Miller, who is first team all-name team in the ACC and in the country. And he hit a wild half-court buzzer beater to beat them by 1. When he attempted the shot, they were down by 2. So they really should have won that game and pretty much outplayed SMU in that game. That would have been a second quad 1 win for them. They lost to St. Mary's. St. Mary's is always good. Always a tough mid-major opponent to play. They're good this year again. They lost in the Bahamas to St. Mary's by 11. And they lost at Wake Forest by 3 points. And that was another game that could have easily gone to overtime. So Syracuse is going to play a lot of close games the rest of the way. You look at their projections against the rest of the ACC field that they're playing in all these games, and they're expected to play 8 games the rest of the way that are decided by 5 or less points. This is one of them. Virginia Tech has played a ton of close games already this season. They went to overtime with Elon and skated by them. Elon is 145 in the net, so it's not like they're terrible, but that would have been their worst loss. The Hokies do not have any true bad losses. They don't have a quad 3 or quad 4 loss, which obviously separates them from Syracuse at the minute. ESPN's bracketology, our guy Joe Lenardi, has the Hokies as the first team out right now. So this is a big game for them. It's a quad 1 opportunity on the road. It's a game they probably feel like they should win, even though Vegas has them as slight underdogs. In terms of what Virginia Tech does well, they are a very good 3-point defense. And Mike Young has talked about that, how Cuse are okay. You can live with getting scored on in the 2-point field goal range, but threes will really hurt you. And that is what they are selling out to do. That is a big part of what they are trying to do defensively. Right now, teams are shooting just 28.8%, basically 29% from three against Virginia Tech. That is the 15th best mark in Division I and tops in the ACC in three-point defense. They have taken care of the basketball, unlike Syracuse. They're pretty good in all of the turnover stats. Turnover margin, they are third in the ACC. Turnovers per game, Virginia Tech is only turning it over about 10 times per game. That's fourth in the ACC. We talked yesterday about this. Syracuse's volume of turnovers don't really jump off the page at you. In fact, if you were doing a scouting report on the Orange and you were going through strengths and weaknesses like I'm kind of doing here with Virginia Tech, I would be surprised if the opposing radio host or someone digging on Syracuse that hasn't watched them a ton this year shouted out turnovers as a problem. But when you've really watched the games, we all know that turnovers is one of the biggest issues around Syracuse right now. So in terms of Virginia Tech's personnel, this is an athletic team. This is a very impressive team in terms of talent. They've got a true point guard. They've battled some injuries this year. But overall, I think this is a team that is probably an NCAA tournament team and better than maybe their metrics say they are right now. Ken Pom has them 57th in the country. Neo Avdalis is the guy that is going to garner a lot of attention tonight. He is the incredibly hyped up international prospect from Greece who has had some really memorable games, has had some okay games to this point in the season. He is a 6'9" guard who will shoot it from deep, 31% from three. He's projected a late first-round pick right now. He very easily could have come out last year and gotten taken in the NBA draft. He's averaging 14 points per game, 5 assists per game. He had about 33, I think it was, against Providence in one of their overtime wins. So he's a guy that can take over a game and is a very unique talent. Their leading scorer is Amani Hansberry, who is a 6'8" forward, averaging 16 points and 9 rebounds per game. Biggest keys for me, protect the ball. And, of course, we're looking at Nathan George. And don't settle for threes, knowing that Syracuse really doesn't do that much, but this is the best three-point defense in the ACC and 15th best in the country. They've got to try and score inside against this team, and that's kind of easier said than done. So that's the Virginia Tech scatter report. That is our Burdick BMW of Cicero opening drive. We'll chat with Dominique Darius next here on Drive Time. You're listening to it on ESPN Radio and watching it on QSportsTalk.com. Chat. What is up? Yeah, I could ask her that, Ryan, the sports psychologist. I'm sure she'd probably give a good answer on that. Okay. I would just adjust the shot a little bit. If it's like, can you just pick like the different camera? And all right, I can slide a little bit. You want me like here? Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Yeah. No, she didn't really play much, Licky Lou. She was at UCLA and USC, and as Coach Jack said from the outset, she is a very, very special player, but didn't really get the opportunity to shine, and now she's getting that. Now she's National Player of the Week. What's up, Philly's Most Wanted? How are we feeling about the game tonight, guys? Snow is coming to North Carolina as well, where the women's team is going. How about that? It's a return home for me. The one time I go home, I'm bringing snow down, of course. Yeah, good point, San Diego Cuse. Another UCLA. Wonder if, I guess they probably knew each other. I don't know. Think they're rolling tonight, bowling ball? It'd be nice to bounce back with a victory. I'm just glad this is the final 9 p.m. home game. I think they got another 9 p.m. game at Louisville late in the year. $76-68. Kev's got Virginia Tech winning by 3. Yeah, Ryan, I saw that they did media training recently. We'll see. They should be motivated, right, after a loss to BC. Yeah, Virginia Tech does shoot a lot of threes.
Watch live on CuseSportsTalk.com.
Well, they blew up a chicken man in Philly last night. Now they blew up his
We roll along on Drive Time on a Wednesday afternoon ahead of an Orange men's basketball game night, a late game night, 9 p.m. tip tonight against Virginia Tech. The Orange women's basketball team is rolling right now. 3 wins in a row against 3 very quality opponents in ACC play. We had Layla Filia on last week after she dropped 38 points at Virginia. Then the Cuse swept the West Coast ACC teams at home in some epic games last week, taking down Cal and Stanford. And we bring on the National Player of the Week. That was just dropped about an hour ago. The U.S. Basketball Writers Association National Player of the Week, Dominique Darius, is with us now after she went for a career high on Sunday, 26 points, and, of course, hit the game winner against Cal last week as well. So a pretty good week for you, Dom, and then we find out you're also getting a nice little award as well. Congrats on National Player of the Week.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was a shock to me. I found out this morning, and I was just surprised, and I was obviously just grateful, but just happy we honestly got the 2 wins, and just really proud of this team for real.
That you were going to be a special player this season, and she kind of joked with me that we just got to give her the keys to the Mercedes a little bit, got to let Dom do her thing, and now we're seeing that. How grateful are you that you're kind of getting an opportunity here at Syracuse to showcase your skill set?
I'm so grateful. I tell Coach all the time how grateful I am for her and the staff and even my teammates for just trusting me and believing me and picking me to be their captain and help lead them to these type of games and just to win games. And so I'm super grateful, and I don't take any day for granted. I mean, I work my butt off every day to make sure that I can always uphold that responsibility and take care of what I need to take care of on the course. So I'm honestly just grateful and full of gratitude.
Well, let's go back to last week. Let's start with the Cal game where you hit the game-winning 3, and we'll get to the play in double overtime as well. We got to talk about a lot of some wild plays from this Cal game. But I talked to Coach Jack, and she was telling me that you were practicing the night before the Cal game inside the dome and basically practicing the exact same shot that you hit with 3.5 seconds left.
Exactly.
Is that true?
Yes. I was working with my trainer. My trainer from LA that I worked all with last year flew in. His name's Kevin Rose. We worked all last year. And so I flew him in because, he wanted to come to 2 games. So, especially the Cali game. So that was literally like the last spot on the floor that we worked on. And it was that exact play that I get horns down for the game-winning shot. And it went down. I mean, I practiced it, a bunch the night before. So, just muscle memory at that point.
Man, that gives me chills thinking about that. Take me back to that moment a little bit, because I know sometimes when a big moment happens in an event or a sporting event, sometimes it's like a complete blur. Sometimes everything's moving in slow motion. What do you remember? Because obviously you make the shot and then it's Coach Jack right there to embrace you right after the shot. And that was such a cool moment for all of us to witness.
Yeah. So as soon as I saw the shot clock going down, I saw that we were going to get the last possession. I literally just looked over at Coach Jack and told her I wanted to go horns down. She was like, go for it. And so as I'm watching the clock go down, there's a video that our team posted, and I literally told myself, go win the game. And I just went into my moves. That's muscle memory, just kind of reading how the defense was playing me. But everything slowed down. It was like slow motion. Like I knew I was going to make the shot before I even got into my move, just from the confidence and the work that I put in. And it was like a surreal moment. And once I hit that shot, I got emotional. That's why you saw Coach Jack grabbing my face, because, I've been through a lot in my college career. And even this year, I've had some up and downs, just not really with the team, just individually, just like, playing a big role. And this is the first time I've been in this situation, and just, doubting myself at times and questioning if I'm good enough, and always coming back to like I am good enough. And that moment just felt like a breakthrough moment for me and all of that I've been through my college career. So it was awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it certainly did seem like you had kind of a weight off your shoulders, and then you played this great game against Stanford, obviously going for a career-high 26 points. Dominique Darius is with us right now, the National Player of the Week that just was dropped about an hour ago, according to the U.S. Writers Basketball Association. National Player of the Week, Dominique Darius, with us. And so Coach Jack embraces you. What do you remember about what she was yelling at you in that moment? Or was that in slow motion, or was it more just the actual shot itself was in slow motion, and then from there you just lose sight of what happened?
No, that moment was slow motion too. It was like Coach Jack really took a moment to embrace what just happened. And I know there was 3 seconds on the shot clock, but Coach Jack knows what I've been through in my college career, and she knows how hard I've worked and that I've had missed opportunities, and things didn't always work out how I wanted it to. And she took that moment to make sure to remind me, like, this is your moment, like, you're here, what I'm saying? And she just took the time to just embrace the severity of what just happened and really make sure I was present and was feeling every emotion that I could possibly feel, And it was funny because one of our other coaches was trying to tell us there's 3 seconds on the shot, on the shot. She's like, no. She's like, I'm gonna embrace this moment with Dom, because like I said, she knows what I've been through, and all the coaches do. But I think she really took pride in making sure I felt that moment, and I can't appreciate her enough for that.
Yeah, it seems like you've got an amazing relationship with her, obviously, and it feels that way with all the players that play for Coach Jack. She's such a great motivator, and it's got to be amazing to play for her. So let's go back to the double overtime play that I was teasing earlier, where you throw it off the back of the Cal player on the inbounds play.
Yeah.
I remember you tried this. You tried this once earlier in the season.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
It didn't work. So what gave you kind of the guts to try it again in that moment? And was that just like an instinctive thing in that moment?
Yeah, it was an instinctive thing. I knew that they were taking away Soph and Uche as an option, and as soon as I could see it before the play even happened. I watch a lot of film, and I see plays before they happen, and I saw how the girl was inbounding, so I looked at her, I said, there's no way. And I said, and she was far enough to where I could, pass it and still be in bounds off her back. And I was like, just go make the play. At that point, we needed to tie the game. We needed to win the game. So whatever play came, and I just trusted my instincts. And I know my coaches trusted my instincts on that too, even though it was a crazy play. I bet their heart probably dropped a little bit when I threw that ball for back.
Yeah, I was going to say we can joke about this now, and because you've got a great relationship with Coach Jack.
Right.
What do you think her reaction would have been if that play didn't work out in that moment, knowing Coach Jack?
I can't even think about that, honestly, because happen. I don't live in the what ifs, I live in the present moment. So it worked out. So I don't know what the reaction would be, and I don't even let my mind go there because it worked out. So I just know that Coach Jack trusts me. So if it didn't,
Right.
if anything happened, she would just watch film and fix it. But I know if the play didn't fall through, we were going to get the ball back and score and tie the game, or even win the game, maybe in double overtime. So I just have faith that it's always going to work out the way it's supposed to.
Yeah, obviously, you're not going to try that unless you're super confident that it was going to work. Yeah. And it did work. And, man, that was an incredible moment in a very wild game, that 3 overtime game. So now let's talk about Sunday, Dom. And Layla, we find out before the game, and I'm sure you guys may have known a little bit earlier, that she unfortunately could not go against Stanford. That's a fellow captain, fellow leader of the team. And it really felt like all of you on the team just stepped up in her absence and played an awesome game against a really good Stanford team.
Oh, 100%. I played Stanford a bunch in my career. I've also played Cal a lot. So I was confident knowing how Stanford and Cal play. Now we're talking about Stanford, but I felt like a sense of confidence with my teammates. I think we've all put the work in. We've had multiple starting lineups throughout the year, and people have stepped up in big times and played their role. And I think the momentum that we have going on right now is just like undeniable. And I know from my teammates, they felt confidence, and I make sure to give confidence to my teammates. And Layla, obviously, we missed her out there, and I even told her before the game, like, man, I wish she was out here with us today to really finish this strong week that we had. But at the end of the day, we all got to step up in her absence and make sure that we, showcase that what we can do as a team and have her back.
Well, certainly Shai Hawkins stepped up, I felt like, and she was back in the starting lineup with Layla out. How big was Shai in particular in that game? Because Coach Jack said it after the game, and I'd have to agree with her. I think that's the best she's played in a Syracuse uniform. And she's had some great moments, but she was 5 for 6. She was big at the top of the zone as well. So what'd you see from Shai in that game, and how important was she? Yeah,
Shai's this kind of team that you really gotta put a battery in her back. I think for her, she just needs to hear that you believe in her and that you trust her in tough times. And so as its captain and as her teammate, like, I'm always giving her confidence and just trying to tell her I believe in her and just giving her like different things that she can do, because she's also a young player, so she's also trying to figure out the game. But she listens really well, and she's been learning. I think she's grown tremendously this year, and I try to tell her that as much as I can, especially while we're winning games. It's hard to always acknowledge what everybody's doing, even if it's minor. But her ability to step up and be ready for her moment, I mean, that just goes to a testament to her work and that her focus and her resilience and being ready whenever her number is called. And she's gonna have a great rest of this year, specifically, and moving forward.
Well, on a 3-game winning streak right now, and I do feel like that Virginia Tech game, and that was right before the 3-game winning streak, and Coach Jack talked a lot about how she challenged the team. There was a 6 a.m. film session, I know, the next morning, right after that tough loss to Virginia Tech. It was really impressive to me the way your team responded against Virginia and has now gone on this win streak since that tough performance against Virginia Tech. What do you think that says about the culture of the team and kind of how special this group could be, that you use that performance to sort of fuel you into this winning streak? Yeah, I mean, I think no one wants to lose, right? But not winning a game that you probably could have won and having those lessons, sometimes are better for us now than they would be later, if that makes sense. And so I think as a team, we do a great job of adapting and focusing in and changing our habits of what we need to do to be better. And I think this team just wants to grow and learn. And so I think that's just a testament to our character and our culture that we have at Syracuse, is that we want to be better and we want to win. And so whatever that may take, some people might have to step up and shoot more shots or rebound more or box out more, play better defense. And that's just the reality of basketball. And when you got people to buy into that, you can be a special team. And I know this team is special because we are willing to do that. And when we do, when we underperform, we always bounce back the next games and we always improve. So that's all you can really ask. We want to peak at the right time, and so I think we're peaking and we're getting, playing some of our best basketball at the right time of the year. So just moving forward, we're just going to keep growing and getting better. Dominique Darius is with us for a couple more minutes here. And Dom, we've got a really loyal fan of our shows and of you guys in our chat. His name's Ryan Mullen, and he's got a particular question for you. He knows that you've been working with a sports psychologist this year. Yeah. And he wants to know just how much of a difference that has made in your game and how much that has helped the team overall.
Man, I can't even really go on to explain how important having someone like a mental coach. The mental coach I work with, his name is Caleb Joseph, and we started working right before the year started. And I knew this year was going to be special, and I knew I needed someone to challenge me, but also give me the tools to be a better athlete, but not having to put my body through workouts. I knew that the mental piece was going to really take me far. So I meet with him twice a week, before every game, and we just talk about things I can control in my habits and my thoughts and being disciplined in my thoughts. I mean, if you go back to the Cal game, I didn't really play one of my best basketball games up until the fourth, at the fourth quarter until we got to overtime. I started to kind of pick it up, but I wouldn't have able to, take the last shot or make it if I didn't have the mental toughness that, some of the stuff that we have worked on together to make sure I'm always engaged no matter what's going on in the game and just being able to be adaptable. So it's really priceless with the stuff that I've learned and how much this mental training has been a benefit for me and my teammates, for sure.
And that's Caleb Joseph, who played for Syracuse for a little bit, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That's cool. How did you get connected with him originally?
Social media. So I remember seeing him on social media a few times, like just in the basketball community, because he did mental coaching I saw him like a year ago, and I remember thinking to myself, like I probably need that. But mind you, I was at USC. I wasn't playing at the time. So I'm like, I don't really need a mental coach, and I'm not playing. But I remember this summer before we got ready for the season, I'm like, man, I really need to talk to someone and have someone that I can consistently go to make sure I'm always at my best mentally. And I remember I reached out to him because I, followed him for the past year or so, and then we got connected, and we've been working ever since.
Yeah, he's got an amazing story, and anytime I've seen him speak, it's very, very impressive. So I'm sure that he is really helping you a lot, and that's a cool Syracuse connection for sure right there. Well, Dom, we appreciate your time here. This has been awesome, and we wish you continued success. You're going on the road to play UNC, you and the team, for a Sunday game this week at 2 p.m. So go take down the Tar Heels, and hopefully we'll catch up with you down the road here.
I appreciate you having me on.
All right, there's Dominique Darius after the unbelievable week for her, getting the National Player of the Week award after going for 26 points, a career high against Stanford, and hitting the game-winning 3 against Cal, and some crazy plays in that triple overtime win over Cal. 3 straight wins for the Orange women's basketball team. They will be on the road, like I said, against UNC on Sunday, barring maybe snow altering that game, because there is supposed to be quite the snowstorm down in the Triangle area and down in North Carolina. Of course, the one time that I go down to North Carolina, it's snowing, but I won't, get too upset about that or sidetrack us too much. And then they will be back home, the women's team, to take on Georgia Tech. That will be a Thursday night game next week. So that is your next chance to see them in person. We'll step aside here for a timeout and react to some of the Fran Brown comments that he made on Orange Nation earlier today. Get into the football conversation a little bit. Some interesting comments from Fran Brown on Orange Nation earlier today. We'll dive into that, and we can work in a phone call as well at 315-437-7644. Back with more Drive Time on ESPN Radio, QSportsTalk.com.
This is Orange.
No, I got him. I'll play him from here. Yeah, you're good. Yeah, we know Caleb Joseph. Had to give you a shout out, Ryan. That was a good question. I wasn't going to ask that, and she gave a good answer. There was so much to ask, I sort of forgot that would be a good question. So I appreciate you, Ryan. Yeah, she is a great interview. Some really good interviews on the team this year. Yeah, they're expecting 5 inches. I mean, at one point this week, someone was telling me 20 inches was projected. That's silly for down there. It's cooled off a little bit. Yes, very articulate. I know, Alphabet Guy. I literally left my golf clubs down there. I went home for Christmas, and I was like, I'll leave my clubs down here because maybe I can play when we go down for the UNC game. That's not happening. I did get to play some over Christmas, which was nice, but weird how they're just getting crushed with snow and ice this week. 93, not bad for shaking off the rust, Gavendo. How's the back treating you? Yeah, I could see Sadiq White. Oh, knee surgery. That's okay. He had a back injury. What was it? A couple years ago when we played? That's not bad at all for those circumstances. Back is all good. Nice. Oh, Goldsboro, yeah. I know where that is. There's a lot of Air Force, military. There's a good amount of that presence in and around where I grew up. Yeah, Justin Rose, the Albatross last night. Nice, Alphabet Guy. Apparently there's a 5-iron coming to Syracuse. If you guys have ever been to one of those, but that's big news for me. Forest Green quarter zips, big day, right? Didn't Steve have one? Steve and I were wearing similar quarter zips today. Nice. Good birthday. Happy birthday, Alphabet friend. Yeah, the Turning Stone's a good spot for that too, Bill. Because you can actually hit out, see where it goes a little bit, and then they've got the nice track, man.
ESPN Radio Syracuse for your chance to win tickets to SU games and concerts. The Charles Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electrical Ticket Window. ESPN 97.7 and 100.1.
Welcome back into Drive Time. 9 p.m. game tonight against Virginia Tech. We'll get to my prediction for the game. We'll have you covered pregame and postgame. Tim Leonard back with you. Our phone lines are open the rest of the show this afternoon. 315-437-7644. And if you're going to the game tonight and you feel like you want to give an angry phone call after the game, you feel like it's going to be one of those nights, that same phone number works. 315-437-7644. 7644. That's for ESPN 44. I'm sure we'll hear from plenty of you, as always, on our post-game show tonight, or it'll be an easy win, a nice bounce-back victory. Syracuse is favored to win this game over Virginia Tech. Very important game, really, for both teams. Obviously, it feels like the Orange is sort of on life support a little bit right now, and they need a win to get back in the win column and just reset the mindset of everyone and encourage them to keep playing tough and giving that level 5 energy throughout the rest of the season. So we'll see what Syracuse has tonight against Virginia Tech. Let's hear a little bit from Fran Brown. We had a great lengthy conversation with Fran Brown on Orange Nation earlier today. You can watch back that interview on our YouTube page. There were a ton of questions to ask Fran Brown. We had not spoken to him in a while. Of course, the transfer portal just closed. We had to ask about a number of different topics as it pertains to the transfer portal. He has made several coaching staff changes, so we had to ask about that. And as always, Fran Brown was very insightful, was very forthright, and was very detailed. He's detailed, accountable, relentless, and tough. At least that's what he's trying to be. He was very detailed in all of his answers here. And there's a lot to get to. So let's start off with kind of like the big news items, I guess. Some of the stuff that I feel like a lot of you will probably see from the interview. And that is, first off, what Fran Brown had to say about the Syracuse-born rapper Cuse, who, remember, was a preferred walk-on commit to Syracuse football. Last we had talked about Cuse. We were discussing how this might be kind of a PR stunt. Is this going to happen? Is it not going to happen? What do we make of this? It obviously gained a ton of national attention when a 26-year-old platinum rapper decided that he was going to go back to college and play some college football and go back to his hometown of Syracuse to do so. Fran Brown has not really spoken publicly on Cuse to this point. And here he is at the end of the interview today. Here's what he had to say about the rapper Cuse and where things stand.
Tootsie, he's not going to come here and play ball. He's going to allow him to walk on. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to talk about that or not, but, it's just different things that had to come about. He's still thinking about it because when you're going to walk on somewhere, that's your right? You get to do that wherever. I was just going to tell him, yeah, you definitely have an opportunity to do that because I know he was born and raised here. So just wanted to be able to give him a shot to live out something that would be in his dream. But I'm not really sure if that'll happen because we're getting more and more players on the football team. So it still goes to I got to evaluate it now, right? Like at first it was like, all right, you come in and see, but then more and more players are coming that can play ball, and I want to be able to evaluate. Some guys have tape, and then there's no tape there, right? He's a great young man, to be honest. He was from Syracuse, so I figured why not do that? Why not be able to give him a chance to come back and try and play football at a college in a city where he was born and raised, right?
All right, so it seems like he's probably not coming to Syracuse based on that comment. He's probably not going to fulfill this preferred walk-on and be a football player. I could be wrong, but, Fran Brown literally starts that comment, and I wasn't sure what to make of the initial 5 seconds. I'll play it for you again real quick.
Tootsie, he's not going to come here and play ball. He's going to allow him to walk on.
So he's not going to come here and play ball. Is that him saying, yeah, he's never going to be like an actual player on the team that we're going to put in the games, but I was allowing him to be a preferred walk-on? Or is that just him saying he's not actually coming here? Like, we've talked and, it was talked about and it was discussed, but it's not going to happen anymore. There is a chance that Fran Brown never thought Cuse was going to come, or it was always planned to just be kind of a PR stunt for both parties. I would not rule that out. I don't really know what to make, but as of right now, I think the idea of Cuse suiting up and being on the sideline for a game next year feels pretty far-fetched. It does not seem like the Syracuse-born rapper who is lived most of his high school life, or all of his high school life, in North Carolina and never played football past the JV level and is only 5'8" and doesn't have really much of a football tape to speak of, is actually going to come here and play football. What about Michael Smith? For those of you that have not followed this, Michael Smith is a South Carolina tight end going into this season. He hits the transfer portal after his sophomore year. Very highly ranked high school player, went to South Carolina, opts to hit the transfer portal, signs with Syracuse. That was their first signee, first commit in the transfer portal this year. That was the first name we brought up as a player that Syracuse is bringing in from the transfer portal. Then reports surface from a South Carolina writer who was commenting on a message board on 247sports.com, a VIP message board, that he actually wants to go back to South Carolina now, and South Carolina wants him back. And it seemed like that was in response to South Carolina sort of striking out in the portal and their coach being on the hot seat and saying, we've got to go and get our guy back, Michael Smith, and maybe they offered him more, who knows? But reports were saying that he wanted out of his contract at Syracuse, and Syracuse wasn't letting him out. And then we found out that he, like Jonte Cook and Darryl Gill, is going to Ole Miss, where Pete Golding is the new head coach at Ole Miss. And I'll let you hear from Fran Brown. This is what he had to say on the situation with Michael Smith from his vantage point. What happened in this situation? Because he was signed with Syracuse. Now he's going to Ole Miss.
He's where he need to be at, right? Like, he signed with us.
Right.
It was a little uncomfortable. I wasn't sure. He wanted to think about the portal. Again, I was lost on how you wanted to do that. But Pete Golding's a hell of a dude. Me and him had a good friendship for some years now. And me and Pete just talked, and that was the best place. You know, we got things that were in line. If a guy wants to leave, then there's certain things that has to happen. But I think Michael Smith will make out better at Ole Miss. I'm happy for Michael. I think he's a good player, and he'll continue to develop on and off the football field. So thankful for him.
All right, so a classy answer there from Fran Brown, and interesting that it does seem like Pete Golding is a very good friend of his, considering Syracuse had 3 pass catchers, 2 that actually played on the team at some point last year, Darryl Gill and Jonte Cook, and then Michael Smith all go to play for Pete Golding at Ole Miss this year. Maybe that was also discussed, and remember our reporting from Stephen Fonte, who said it on Orange Nation, and he said it on Channel 9 and so on and so forth, that he felt like only Darryl Gill was really the only player that Syracuse wanted back and could not get back. And he entered the portal and went to Ole Miss. Jonte Cook and Yasin Willis, it seems like we're not quite dart enough for Fran Brown, and they opted to hit the portal. And Fran Brown did say, I don't have this soundbite in front of me, but he did bring up the GPA of the team and how it wasn't up to par, and it was the lowest semester GPA that he has had since he's been the head coach, and how when they brought back the players that they did decide to bring back, a lot of them had a better GPA than some of the players that left the team. That was kind of what he was hinting at a little bit earlier in the visit on Orange Nation. How about Calvin Russell? This is a long answer from Fran Brown, but a very good one on what we should expect from 5-star wide receiver Calvin Russell.
He has quick feet. He gets in and out of his breaks all the time. He can catch the ball natural, and he's tough, right? His mom is a tough woman. His mom had 1,000+ points in basketball at Miami, so, you know, that's where he comes from. Then his dad's a good guy, too, that loves to compete. So this kid is just a super, super athletic. When I watched him play, the first time you're going to see him play basketball, you know, you go see guys play, and he was playing point center. So on offense, he was the point guard, and on defense, he was going to center. And they played a good team who had about 4 kids go. I think they was playing Norland, if I'm not mistaken. But they had about 4 kids that went Division I in basketball, and he might have had 40 that night. It seemed like he had 60, but he was just scoring and shooting and talking trash. And he had that dog that you're looking for. He has that dog and that instant, we're good because I'm here mindset, right? And like, we're not going to lose to these guys.
He's got that dog in him, apparently. Calvin Russell. He also is Gump. We know about that. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, that is his motto. That's on his Twitter profile. He's talked about how he's bringing the Gump mindset to Syracuse, which stands for greatest under major pressure. There's a lot of hype around Calvin Russell, and I don't really know what to expect necessarily from him, but Fran Brown feels like wide receiver is going to be a strength of the team, and I'm sure he is expecting big things from Calvin Russell in his first year. We have not seen a 5-star around these parts in a very, very long time, and it is uncharted territory, and it's going to be interesting just how good Calvin Russell is in week 1, just how good he is in week 10, and that's a fascinating story of him as a basketball player, and it gives you some insight into his motor and what he's made of, and all of that seems to really pass the test of someone that you want to be a corner piece of your team. So very exciting that Syracuse is bringing him in. Very exciting to see him on the football field, but I remain kind of just cautiously optimistic is what I was trying to say. I remain just cautiously optimistic about the whole situation because I just don't know how good he's going to be as a freshman, but he does seem to have a ton of talent. One more from Fran Brown. I have been outspoken a little bit about how I would have liked to have seen a little bit more from the offensive line in the transfer portal in terms of guys coming in. Fran Brown does make the point in this comment I'm about to play back that they did bring everyone back from the offensive line. And when Paulie asked him about his confidence level in the O-line, or maybe it was Steve, I can't remember, he starts by really praising their new offensive line coach, who is Juan Castillo.
We got Juan. You see who our line coach is, right? Yeah, we got Juan. That should be the least of your worries. Nobody left though, right? Everybody came back, and we picked up one guy that played last year, someone else, but everyone came back. Nobody left. We're excited about that group, and they'll continue to get developed. They have one of the best coaches in football, period, that's coaching that position. I'm honored that he's on our staff, right? I'm excited that he's on our staff. I'm thankful for what he's already doing with the players. You got Joe Cruz and Trey Mack and Byron and all them. Everybody's getting their weight right. Make sure y'all stay on Byron. When y'all see him, everybody, make sure he keep getting his weight right and moving, him and Skyler. But they're doing a good job. Byron's really leading that group already as a sophomore.
So that was Fran Brown earlier today on Orange Nation. Always an insightful interview when we have him on there. Apparently he's on ACC Network right now, so he's making the rounds a little bit today. We'll wrap up the show on the other side by making a prediction for the Syracuse-Virginia Tech game tonight, 9 p.m. tip inside the Dome. You're listening to Drive Time.
Be sure to tune into...
Hey. Oh, okay. I mean, I'm not going to... If I go to like 56, is that fine? Or, okay, yeah. Thanks. I can't go to 6:30. We're resetting our internet at 6 p.m. So if I go past 6, you guys won't even hear me. Well, actually, that's not true. I would still be on the stream, but the radio would go. So I got to stay on time tonight. Got to stay on time tomorrow, too. We got Crunch right after. Hi, Gavendo. There were some wild comments in here during my last segment. I was trying to keep a straight face. What are we talking about? Vito, Pat, some weird stuff in here. Syracuse basketball is a lot like a box of chocolates. Yeah. Well said, Philly. That sucks, Kev. No, it'll be Gio and Kyle on pregame at 8 p.m., and I will be back for the postgame. I'm going to go get some dinner, do some other work, and try and stay up. Look at you, Ryan. That's exactly what I would be doing right now if I wasn't doing the show. Didn't that get canceled, Bill? Or is it a different one? I saw some hockey game was canceled because of the weather. Maybe I'm not thinking of the exact one you're in. Oh, that's cool. Crash at the Poly Loft. I don't think he has space for me. That'd be a really low point in my life if I slept on Polly's couch. Yeah, he doesn't have space for Darth Vader.
ESPN Radio 97.7 and 100.1. ESPN 97.7 and 100.1. Watch live on CuseSportsTalk.com.
All right, final segment on the show. We'll be back in a couple hours for pregame, 8 p.m. And then I'll be right here late night with you guys on postgame. Right after the final buzzer, we'll have Adrian Autry's full press conference. You can always watch pregame and postgame shows on CuseSportsTalk.com or Twitch stream. Cuse Sports Talk on the YouTube page as well. My prediction for the game tonight, I think it's going to get a little weird on a 9 p.m. game, and I'm guessing Syracuse wins. And I don't know why, but I've just had a feeling all day that it's going to be on a buzzer beater or some type of weird, wild play at the end of the game. Feels like we're sort of due for one of those. I'm not saying it's going to be like the Copeland shot or truly at the buzzer. That's pretty rare, but I got a feeling that Syracuse wins a close game tonight. Virginia Tech has lost some weird games this year. Syracuse is coming off a tough loss, of course. I do think the Orange match up pretty well against the Hokies, and I have them winning it 74-71. 3-point victory, which would mean they would not cover the 3.5 that it opened at, but that's right around what the projections are saying on Ken Pom and Bart Torvik, and I think Syracuse does bounce back with a victory tonight. But I will be back with all of you on postgame to react to it and take your phone calls. And remember, pregame with Gio and Kyle coming up. Kyle's debut on the pregame show will be at 8 p.m. Him and Gio will break down Virginia Tech and Syracuse some more from 8 to 9 p.m., and then I'll be back for postgame. We will have Adrian Autry on Orange Nation tomorrow as well at 1 p.m. for his Thursday visit with us at 1 p.m. Thanks to all of you for watching on CuseSportsTalk.com. Thanks to Dominique Darius, who was a great guest today on our show. Thanks to Kyle, who was producing, and we will talk to you for pregame around 8 p.m. Until then, take care, and thanks for watching and listening on CuseSportsTalk.com and ESPN Radio.
This is our...